want to bring in Gaurav Sawant also on this broadcast, who is joining us live from one of the worst affected parts of Israel, where we've been seeing bombing as well. Gaurav, stay safe out there. I've been seeing all of your reports, one particularly where you were standing as rockets were being fired. There's a lot of concern over these mass abductions that have been reported, Gaurav. Any details that have emerged so far on what Israel's strategy is to bring back their citizens who have currently been abducted?
You know, Akshita, this is the biggest challenge that Israel faces right now to carry out the punitive strikes against the Hamas terrorists and at the same time ensure that their own people are kept safe. Their own people. The numbers, there is some ambiguity. By some accounts, there are dozens who've been abducted. By other accounts, there are over 100 who've been abducted and they're being kept at different locations. Because even here, those who had their mobile phones with them, their next of kin, their relatives, they're tracking those mobile phones and they're seeing up to a location in Gaza Strip. They can see those mobile phones and suddenly they see nothing. There is also the apprehension that some of those who've been abducted have actually been now taken into a maze of underground tunnels. If they've been rescued, if they've been held hostage in tunnels, rescuing them is easier said than done. Now, while Israel has said that punitive strikes will be carried out against the Hamas leadership and heavy caliber weapons, we are told, are being used, at the same time, Israel's challenge remains to rescue its own people. If it's in the tunnels, it's a very tough task because if soldiers go inside the tunnels, the Hamas, well aware of what the Israeli strategy could well be, in places they could destroy those tunnels and there could be more losses of lives. At the same time, they cannot let this be a case where an Israeli soldier was held by the Hamas for close to half a decade, for 5 years plus, after which he was repatriated, but a large number of Palestinians had to be released in return. So the Hamas strategy has been very clear: attack, kill maximum, take hostages to prevent Israel's response being punitive. At the same time, hold the hostages as a bargaining chip. So as of now, uphill challenge, huge challenge for the Benjamin Netanyahu government.
These abductions still happening, Gaurav, because we know that, this attack by Hamas terrorists hasn't come to an end just yet. There's a concern that there are still many of them hiding in Israel. So have there been more reports coming in of women being taken in, of abductions?
The apprehension is there. The place where we are, to a very large extent, this part of southern Israel has completely been taken over by the security forces, and they are moving forward virtually lane by lane, building by building, locality by locality, clearing it of all Hamas terrorists, and then moving forward further south. At the same time, the Hamas had destroyed the fence at multiple locations. That fence hasn't been put in place once again. Till the time the fence is back and till the time the last of the threat has been neutralized, the threat will remain. And as of now, the largest call has been given out to the reserves to be called out for conscription to join the Israeli forces. While some of them will be a part of the active fighting force, the others would be a part of the ambulance services, the medical services, the fire services, the rear guard, looking after civil defense. A lot of people have now been called out to ensure that every locality is safe when that punitive strikes are carried out. Now, will Israeli forces also go in a big way and occupy, the Gaza Strip like they had once in the past? And will it happen all over again? That remains the biggest challenge, and that is where this fight could take an even more alarming, bigger, assume a bigger threat for the region.
You're right, Gaurav, in saying that, this isn't ending anytime soon, unfortunately. Stay safe out there, Gaurav. We're going to keep coming across to you. Gaurav doing a splendid job out there, leading from the front, reporting from the front line for us to inform you, the viewer, of exactly what's happening currently in Israel and getting you the latest on that conflict. Thanks very much, Gaurav. Let me now also introduce on the broadcast Hen Mazek, Israeli writer and former defense officer also who's with us. Hen, thank you for joining us on India Today. I know you have family in Israel. So first of all, I hope all of them are doing okay and they're safe.
Yeah, they're all safe. My friends were called into reserve duty, but they're safe, but they're definitely not okay on this day.
I can imagine. These reported abductions that have taken place, Hen, is there any detail that we have right now with regards to estimates of perhaps how many women, children have been abducted?
We're talking about over 200 at this point, but I think that the authorities also know that the number will increase as we get more information. But as you said, it's babies as young as 2 and 3 years old that were taken into Gaza, and elderly women with dementia or with illnesses that needs their medicine. It's girls that have been raped on the way into Gaza, and we know that they are treating them in the most inhumane ways possible, and our hearts are really shattered today.
Also, at this point, do we have any information on what are the steps being taken to try and rescue some of these women? Because we know a lot of them also, and from the images that are coming in, were particularly targeted from a rave party. It was this party that was targeted by terrorists. Many of the women who were there have also been abducted. We're hearing that the casualty count from this party alone is at about 260.
Yeah. The Hamas has targeted this party. Apparently, they had information that the party is happening, and that was one of their main targets. They wanted to reach young girls. That's why they aimed at this party. The reports that we're getting are just horrific. Eyewitnesses are telling us that they saw young girls being raped by Hamas terrorists right next to their friends' bodies. That after they've been raped, they've been shot in their heads. Some are still the place itself is just a nightmare to go through for Israeli security forces, and still trying to understand exactly what happened. But from what we know right now, the sizes of this catastrophe are unimaginable.
Is there going to be a challenge? My final question to you, Hen, is this is going to be hugely difficult for now Israeli forces to identify exactly where these hostages are. What are the steps being taken currently to ensure that they're brought back safely? Is there a concern that many of them could have already been murdered, been killed?
Yeah, of course, we know that a few of them have been murdered, but we also heard from Hamas that they have spread them throughout the Gaza Strip, and that's why Israel is trying to be very careful. In general, when Israel attacks, it's, the Israel Defense Force is a humane army. We don't want to hurt civilians. So anyway, Israel is trying to be very targeted with the attacks now, but we know that they are being hidden, and we are concerned for their well-being. At this point, I think we just need international support to continue in this effort, and for the world to support us as we fight to bring back our family.
Okay, prayers for the hostages, hoping that they're brought back safe and sound. Prayers for your country as well. Thanks very much, Hen, for joining us here on India Today.